G'day guys and girls, it's Anthony from Grandstand Sports Clinic. Today's topic is Achilles tendonitis and the best ways that you can manage it so you can get back to doing the activity you love as soon as possible. Now for those of you who are new to this channel, we make a series of videos which explain different pathologies and look at taping techniques to make sure that you're able to do what you love as soon as possible. So if you like what you see, hit the like button and please consider subscribing. Anyone who's had Achilles tendonitis can tell you just how frustrating an injury can be, particularly when it starts to interfere with your training for an event or for the season ahead. What we need to understand is that Achilles tendonitis is simply a disparity between the amount of load that you're asking of the tendon and the capabilities of that tendon to withstand that load. If you're interested more, you can have a look at our previous tendon video, which explains some of the different stages of tendonitis. Our aim in Achilles rehabilitation is to try to reduce the disparity between the ability of the tendon to deal with load and the amount of load that we're placing upon it. One of the simplest things we can do to try to decrease the load on a tendon is to actually give it some rest. But as we spoke about in the previous video, rest isn't the best thing for the tendon, and long term, if we want to make the tendon better, we're better to try and work through it. We can certainly look at decreasing some of the loading factors, such as decreasing the mileage, increasing the recovery time between exercise bouts, or having a look to make sure that our footwear are a good match for our feet. If you're going to continue training whilst having Achilles tendonitis, it's absolutely important to know just the right volume and the load so that you're not actually making your condition worse. And this is a good time to talk to your physiotherapist to really diagnose what stage of your tendon it is in, but also what's the appropriate load to be putting through it so that you're not jeopardising your own rehabilitation long term. Your physio should be able to give you some guidance about what's a safe load for you to continue doing, how much pain is acceptable, and things you can do such as massage and stretching in order to keep the tendon as healthy as possible. Now, calf stretching is a pretty simple thing to do, and we don't want to spend too much time on it. If you are interested in looking at ways to stretch your Achilles and your calf, have a look at this video which we posted not so long ago. Now, long term, the best way to deal with Achilles tendonitis is to increase the strength of the Achilles tendon, so that it's better able to deal with the loads that you want to throw at it when you're preparing for an event. And we don't need to get too complicated with the types of exercises we choose to strengthen the tendon, but we need to make sure that there's a reason for doing the exercises and that they're going to lead to an end result. One of the most common exercises you'll start with is a heel raise, and that's because there's really good evidence that that exercise works very well in the long term for dealing with Achilles tendonitis. Now, the heel raise works specifically on the tensile properties of the Achilles tendon, and improving your score on a heel raise is going to improve the tensile strength of your Achilles tendonitis. The other thing you need to keep in mind is, as we spoke about in the previous video, the tendons don't like rotation, and sometimes that's the stress which overloads the tendon. So if we're looking at doing running specific exercises, we need to try to minimize rotation through our running style. Now, it's a good idea to get your running gait assessed to see if you are someone who drops through the knees or through the hips when you're running, because that could be increasing the rotation load on the Achilles. Regardless of that, it's always a good idea to do some lower body strength and control exercises to make sure that we're keeping everything in as good of alignment as possible, because that's going to again decrease the load on the Achilles. In this series of exercises that we're just going to have a look through, you'll see that we start from very, very basic movements which are slow and controlled and putting load through the Achilles, and moving the exercises to become more and more running specific. But we also want to be looking at how the foot responds at impact. So it's important to have some sort of impact activity in the exercise. And it can be as simple as starting with skipping and moving through to the lateral hops that we see here. Once we've developed good movement competence in our balance exercises, we can increase the demands on the system by increasing more weight or resistance through the movement, or increasing the balance component of the movement itself. Now, these exercises are just an example of some of the exercises that may be beneficial to you. And again, it depends a lot on your individual running mechanics and the targets that you have in terms of your running goals. Regardless of your goals, it's a good idea that your exercise program incorporates 3 different components. The first one being strengthening of the tendon so that it's better able to deal with the loads. Secondly, it's a good idea to incorporate stretching and ankle range of motion, because again, a more mobile ankle is going to decrease the stress on the Achilles tendon. Thirdly, we should have some global movement patterns incorporated into the program to ensure that all the joints are working in a coordinated, controlled and stable manner. Finally, you need to understand that a good rehabilitation program for tendon is going to cause some pain. It's okay for the tendon to be sore following the exercises. That's a sign that they're having the effect that you're after. If the exercises are increasing your pain to such a level that you're finding it hard to back the exercises up, you have to question whether you're doing too much and again loading the tendon too much. A good rule of thumb that I like to use is that after your exercises, the tendon will be sore. Now, as long as you're okay to repeat that exercise session in 2 days' time, then you're probably on the right track. And make sure you and your physio are on the same page when it comes to how much pain you should be feeling after these exercises. Achilles tendonitis is a pain, but again, if you understand the principles behind it, in terms of making the tendon stronger to deal with the load or decreasing the load through equipment or running modification, then it's something which is pretty easy to get on top of. It will take time, but through a sound, organised and staged rehabilitation program, you will make a recovery, and most importantly, you'll make yourself more bulletproof to the loads that you're going to be throwing at it in the future. If you've got any more questions about your Achilles tendonitis or what we've spoken about today, please whack them down in the comments section and we'll make sure that we get back to you. Let us know how you're travelling with your rehabilitation for your Achilles tendonitis. Likewise, if there's any other topics that you'd like us to discuss in future videos, let us know and we'll see what we can do for you. Hope this has been useful in understanding how to rehabilitate your Achilles tendon and giving you some ideas for some exercise progressions that you might move through. Till next time, we'll see you later. Here's a moth.